How's it flying, guys? Lance Corporal Hawk 30 here, and welcome to another reaction to the Fat Files. You know, one of these days, I'm gonna get over whatever mental block just makes me wait until the last minute to do things. That's a lie. That's never gonna happen, unfortunately. Context. It's 2:44 a.m. I have work tomorrow. I normally go to bed around 3:30, and this is an 18-minute video I'm going to be reacting to, so probably about, considering the amount of times that I've paused in the video to kind of get my thoughts out, you know, it's probably going to wind up being at least 25 minutes, I'm guessing. We'll see how long it is. Yeah. In the past few hours, I've been playing Wind Waker. Which one? Because I wanted to. You know, it was my first ever playthrough of Wind Waker, so I wanted to have some fun. But, yeah, I just... It's all up here. It's like, you need to do this. You should do this before it gets too late. You should do this before it gets too late. You should do this before it gets too late. My brain's just like, nah. But it is late. I've got enough time to record this, edit it together, and start uploading, so I'm gonna do that before I go to bed. It's my fault, but that said, gonna leave that as is. The most gangster beverage company on earth, Arizona Tea, by the Fat Files. I've never partaken in Arizona Tea, I don't think. I'm well aware of what the company is, but yeah, I've just never really experimented with them. When I think tea, I just do Southern sweet tea, you know. Get the gallon with the cup of sugar mixed in and all that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna stop wasting time because I've got to go to bed within 50 minutes. So, yeah. On to the reaction. Link to the original video will be in the description. Please make sure you've seen it before you watch my reaction to it. As always. With that out of the way, let us go ahead. Let me double check. Yeah. With that out of the way, let us go ahead and go.
Alright, this is easily the most requested business for me to look into. Today we're talking about Arizona Tea, and I think the...
I hate when the Wi-Fi does that to me. It usually does okay, at least. Anywho,
the reason so many people have requested this is fairly obvious. Clearly Arizona is up to something, selling these giant cans of tea for 99 cents, which right out of the gate feels weird, but then it gets even weirder when you realize that they've been selling that same can of tea for the same exact price since 1992. Okay, inflation has gone up 124%.
I mean, I'm gonna assume it's a similar business model to the Costco CEO, where it's just like, you better not fucking increase the price of that damn hot dog. I'm going to assume it's something similar, but I don't know about the Arizona Tea, so...
Since then, meaning that if they just wanted to maintain everything, that can of tea should cost at least $2.24. Okay, bear in mind, we live in a world where as of 2021, the Dollar Tree is now the $1.25 tree. Okay,
yeah,
the only other product that is sacred is the Costco $1.50
yes, I just brought that up.
And to make that even kind of feasible...
Hold on, I'm going to try to... I don't know... Not what I meant to do. I'm going to up the quality of the video just a little bit. I don't know how... It's going to be compressed for you guys into a corner, so I don't know how fuzzy it's going to look for y'all, but it is fuzzy for me. So, okay, that's a bit better. Anyways...
Costco had to go out and buy 2 hot dog making factories, and they still lose money on it, okay? The only reason Costco's staying in business is because they make so much money on all the other things they sell, they can just afford to take a loss on the hot dog, which makes the Arizona Tea can absolutely insane because it's the equivalent of Costco only selling hot dogs. They have to be losing money. It doesn't even seem feasible. They're clearly up to something, and we're going to get into it right after a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Rocket Money, your all-in-one finance app.
Rocket Money.
Cancel subscriptions subscriptions, lower your monthly bills, and overall manage your money better. Rocket Money covers pretty much everything. They will let you monitor your credit score. They help you manage your budget by letting you see all of your expenses in one easy location. And then if you want them to, they can actually go in and help negotiate a lower price on some of your bills, like your cell phone, for example. And they don't just save you money by negotiating down some of your bills. They also help you identify and cancel a bunch of subscriptions that you probably didn't even know that you had. And this is my favorite part because me and my wife, mostly my wife, has a horrible habit of signing up for free trials on apps and then forgetting to cancel them. But luckily, Rocket Money
that's a bad thing.
I've been spending $7.99 a month every month for the past 3 years on some photo editing
they
app
get
that
you
my
by
wife used
letting
one
you
time
forget
for an
it.
Instagram post.
Of course, the Imperial March starts playing as a the face.
Yeah, babe, what's up?
How many guns did you buy this year?
No comment. Wait, what? How do you even know I'm talking about you right now? Did you bug my office?
A, don't worry about it. B, keep my name out of your mouth.
All right.
That's a repeat bit, right? Did he reuse Did he reuse a Rocket Money ad? Oh.
All right, I gotta finish the ad. I gotta go. Love you. That could have went better. Anyways, if you want to take control of your finances
slightly
today,
different.
go check out Rocket Money. I will have a link in the description down below. Let's get back to the video.
Not hating on it though. The baby monitor again.
There's a baby monitor in my office. All right, our story.
Yeah, he had to reuse that
John
particular
Voltaggio.
sketch.
In the 1970s, he was a truck driver
Not
for
hating
an
on it,
alcohol
though.
distribution service. Essentially, he was driving a truck around the city, and he would deliver all the alcohol to convenience stores and gas stations, and he did that for years. After doing this for years, him and his coworker John Farolito decided they're going to start their own distribution service. However, as I'm sure you can imagine, that's a very tough business to get into, and initially the only clients that they could get were all the convenience stores and gas stations on the sketchy part of town that nobody else wanted to deliver to, but they did it anyways. Then, after they had a fairly successful distribution service, they figured, hey, we're already carrying all these different types of beverages to deliver them to all the convenience stores, and we have those relationships. What if we started our own brewery and started making our own alcoholic beverage, and then we could just have one more product to be able to offer all these clients? So they
That's
did,
a method.
and that was fairly successful also. So now that they have their own alcohol, they have to figure out how to market it, and this is where John Voltaggio really figures out how to market a product, and he looks around at all the other successful products in the alcohol market in the 1980s. And let's just call a spade here. The 1980s is the pinnacle of the sleazy advertisement era, okay? I mean, we've got Camels trying to sell children-flavored cigarettes, and we've got every alcohol company on the planet desperately trying to convince you that if you drink fucking Bud Light or Coors Light or whatever, a supermodel is going to be attracted to you and your beer gut. So
The amount of weird ads that existed that people thought in the day were cool is interesting. Like, I've watched Nostalgia Critics yearly commercial specials, and there's a lot of just really weird commercials. Some of them are cool. There are some commercials, like, they knew how to have fun, for sure. There's some that's just like, okay, bring the fun factor back into the commercials instead of just the corporate stale, modernized BS. But then there's some that's just like, maybe should have tweaked the writing a little bit on that one.
So John Voltaggio, learning how to market a product, he's like, okay, step 1, make it cool. Step 2, have a supermodel with huge cans, promote it. Easy. They then proceed to name their beer Midnight Dragon, which is the coolest fucking name for a beer.
That is a cool name.
In 2024, if you adjust for inflation, it had to have been way cooler back in the 1980s. I mean, even today, that's a brilliant name. Imagine going over to your buddy's house, he opens up the fridge. Oh, what did you want to drink? We've got Miller Lite and Midnight Dragon.
Dragon!
I mean, at that point, you could literally be a Miller Lite guy, and you're still going to try at least one Midnight Dragon. You have to. So, step 1, make it cool. Check. Step 2, make it sexy, right? Sex sells. I present to you their first ever advertisement, a beer poster of a model in red.
That's a poster. Jeez. I could suck on this all night. I see that. Also, question. Is Midnight Dragon still trademarked and used? That's my current question. Because if no one's using that name... Well, I would say if nobody's using that name, that could be an easy cinch. But then again, the patents and copyrights on certain things, even if it's not being used, could still create infringement. So it's like whatever. But it's still a cool name, and if it's not being used, that's a shame.
Red lingerie holding a 40 of Midnight Dragon with a straw with the caption, "I could suck on this all night."
Damn!
The fact that it's a 40 is just completely outrageous. Like, the notion that anyone in the history of mankind has ever been drinking a 40 while simultaneously also concerned about smearing their lipstick is just completely unhinged. Like, I need a part 2 of this beer advertisement. I know that straw doesn't reach the bottom of that 40. What happens when the straw doesn't reach anymore? Do you just throw it away and get another 40? Or are you going to be so drunk off the first 20 ounces you're not going to care about your lipstick anymore? I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyways, this goes on until like 1990, and John Voltaggio, while he's delivering beer one day, there's another distributor there, and he's actually dropping off a bunch of Snapple. And John Voltaggio is just like captivated by it because it's the middle of winter. Why on earth would anybody be drinking iced tea in the middle of winter? It doesn't make any sense to him, but apparently a bunch of people enjoy it, so he's like, that's it. I'm going to start selling tea. So the first thing John
there
has
you
to
go.
figure
That's
out
where
is
the
the
spark.
proposition, right? Why would anybody drink his tea over Snapple? Snapple's already an established brand. So he starts to thinking on how he's going to set himself different.
Well, look at how many established brands no longer hold the same prestige as they used to, or have even gone out of fashion. How massive was Blockbuster, and then Netflix came along. It's still a shame that video stores just have phased out just about completely. Even the video store in Big Lake, Alaska, it was still there when I was in high school, and even when I graduated, it was there back in 2013. It was just a small hole in the wall, part of a small mall plaza, and I mean like those small town mall plazas. It's just got a grocery store and a couple of other things in it, maybe a single restaurant. At one point there was a pizza joint in the corner, but that hole in the wall video store was still there when I moved back down to Georgia after graduating, and then when I moved back up, it was still there in 2016. But then this last time I went there, last time I was up there back in last year, 2023, it was gone. That was such a kick in the nuts. Like, sheesh, my childhood is just evaporating. But yeah, don't underestimate the new kid on the block, because sometimes they come up with something that just, like, curb stomps you. Snapple's still around, so it's like, obviously, it's just some healthy competition, but it's like, yeah, don't ever undersell don't ever underestimate the new kid on the block, because sometimes they'll prove you wrong in a big way.
Different, how he's going to set himself apart, how he's going to be better. Now, I'm just guessing, but I'm assuming at this point he refers back to all of his experience, all of his knowledge, all of the lessons that he's learned from marketing and distributing beer over the past.
Plus, another point, the fact that the guy was already a marketing genius before he decided to start getting into tea, that he already had a lot of lessons from learning things, is definitely going to help him get a leg up in certain areas.
Past decade. And when you distill all that knowledge down, he knows that you have to make it cool and you have to make it sexy, right? Because sex sells. The problem is, iced tea isn't exactly an adult beverage. There might be a lot of kids drinking this beverage too, and having some model with huge cans marketing it might be a little aggressive for something that children might be drinking, and then it hits him. Huge cans. We'll get rid of the model and just keep the giant cans. Okay, now like the textbook business term for this strategy is called a value proposition. Basically, he's decided that Snapple is 16-ounce term for this strategy is called a value.
Value proposition in marketing, an innovation, service, or feature intended to make a company or product attractive to customers. Okay, so it's just like knowing your audience, basically. Knowing what audience you want to have the business with.
Proposition. Basically, he's decided that Snapple is 16 ounces and it costs like, I don't know, $1.29, whatever it costs. He's coming in and he's like, cool, I'm going to sell more. I'm going to sell 23-ounce cans and I'm going to sell it for less. I'm going to sell it for 99 cents. That's the value proposition. You're going to get more for less. Okay, that's what a textbook's going to tell you, but I'm dubbing this the big can strategy, right? Because we've seen this time and time again.
Fair.
Okay? Think about Monster Energy. Monster Energy was not the first energy drink to ever hit the market. That was Red Bull. Monster Energy just came along and was like, oh, hey, Red Bull's only selling these little 8-ounce cans of energy drinks. What if I doubled the size and sold 16-ounce cans and gave it an even cooler logo? Boom, multi-billion-dollar business right out of the gate.
It is.
And you know the kicker with that, one of the top executives that helped initially launch Monster and market it shit was a top-level executive at Arizona previously, so he knew exactly what he was doing with the big can strategy. In Don Voltaggio's own words, his marketing strategy is, and I quote, "Put tea in a big can and paint it pretty." Okay, if you learn nothing else from this video, just remember, people like big cans.
Did you say my name?
No, why?
You said big cans.
Yeah.
Well, that was my nickname in high school.
What?
Yeah, I didn't tell you that story?
No.
Yeah, so it all happened back in 2009. I was a freshman. And
we know exactly what's
all
going
these
on
boys
here.
were just like all up in my face. I'm like,
Sorry, what?
are you paying attention?
Yeah. No, I heard all of it.
Okay.
She's gonna quiz him, isn't she?
Sorry, anyways, we've got
Never
the business
mind.
model. Classic value proposition, give more for less. Super simple, easy to
My
market,
man.
great, tried and true business strategy. Next thing, what are we going to name the company? So,
By the way, he is allowed to stare because that is his wife. Okay? He is allowed to stare. It's a little bit different for the random strangers on the interwebs, but he is allowed to stare.
Don's thinking on it. He goes back home to his wife, and he's looking at his house, and he lives in this, like, Spanish colonial, or sometimes referred to as Santa Fe style home. And he's like,
okay,
cool, I'm just going to call it Santa Fe tea. When you think of tea, you think of hot, the desert. Santa Fe is perfect. We're going to slap Santa Fe on the can. He does a couple of designs. The word Santa Fe just, it doesn't look right. It doesn't fit. So he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to say Arizona tea. Don's wanting to set foot in Arizona, but he's like, it's fine. We're just going to call it Arizona tea. It'll be good.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, next thing. Got to make the
I mean,
cans
it
cool.
works.
Don's wife volunteers. She's going to design all the cans. Perfect. We got everything we need. So now Don and John Farolito.
Also, I forgot to make a comment on him saying that just make a big can and dress it pretty. Yes, when you got something, that's a drowsy looking face I paused on. When you got something that looks unique, that has a pretty look to it, or is sparkly, that's going to draw the eye a little bit more than just something that's like gray.
We're going to go to the bank, get a loan, and start their tea company. The bank hates it. They think it's a horrible, stupid idea, but they reluctantly end up giving the loan anyways for a couple of reasons. One, they're already successful businessmen. They already have a ton of money in collateral. And B, sometimes you just got to bet on the player and not the game. So the bank, while they were wrong, they ended up making the right decision and loaned them the money to get started. So 1992, Arizona tea hits the shelves for the first time and pretty much is immediately outrageously successful. And from here, it's pretty much three decades of Don Voltaggio being a fucking gangster about absolutely everything. Don wakes up one morning, decides he wants to start selling giant 1-gallon jugs of tea. He starts making the tea.
Yeah, they
did
do that.
The distributor's like, hey, this is never going to sell. At which point Don is like, cool, you're never right about anything. Go ahead and put it on the shelf anyways. We'll see what happens. Now it's in like every grocery store in America. He decides he wants to come out with a new flavor of tea, honey and ginseng green tea, and then he has his wife design this beautiful can. At which point he takes a bunch of criticism like, hey, men are never going to drink that tea because it's a girly colored can. At which point he's like, fine, I'll just sell it to women then. Fast forward a decade later, it's their best-selling flavor and probably one of the most iconic product designs of all time. It's all because he had his wife's back like a complete badass. He would also get a bunch of shit because he wasn't doing any marketing. Like, he had no marketing department whatsoever.
That's kind of surprising.
Whenever companies or interviewers or news sources would ask, you know, hey, how big is your marketing department? He would reply, pretty big. About 6'8", in fact, referring to himself because he was the only guy that did any marketing, which honestly wasn't much. They weren't worried about product placements and being a Super Bowl commercial and all this other dumb shit that all the other brands do, because Don knew that he had the value proposition on his side. He knew that he was selling more tea for less, and he was putting it inside of a business model that works. The product would sell itself, and he was absolutely right. Okay, fast forward to 2008, Arizona Tea is huge. They have their own factory, everything's paid off, they're making a ton of money, they're the #1 ready-to-drink tea brand in the country. At this point, the company is worth over $1 billion, and John Farolito, who over the past decade has become more and more of a quiet partner as Don just kind of took everything over, and John just got to, you know, reap the rewards. He comes out and he's like, hey, we could literally sell this company and make billions of dollars and just be retired billionaires that wake up and do whatever the fuck we want all day, every day. We should sell the company. To which Don was like, no, absolutely not. I'm not selling this company because if I sell this company, what are my sons going to do? Both his sons were his top level executives with him, literally his right and left hand man. And he knew that if he sold out, he wasn't going to get to hang out with his sons because every single day, Don Voltaggio has a 2-hour family style lunch with both of his sons and his wife inside of his big ass office in his factory.
That's actually legitimately wholesome and something I would love to be able to do with my dad sometime in the future. Just the ability to every day spend time with one of your parents like that as an adult. Like, living on my own, I live within an hour's drive of my dad, so it's not the hardest thing to spend time with him. But having it be part of work, where any day that I worked, I would get to see him, would be kind of cool, because my work days don't allow for that. It's just 12-hour shifts, so no time for nothing but wake up, go work, come back home, take the dog out, shower and sleep.
Okay, just so we're all on the same page, Don Voltaggio could have cashed out and been a billionaire with a fucking B and said, nah, I'd rather hang out with my kids. Go fuck yourself. That is the most gangster thing
that
I
actually
think I've ever
is.
heard in my entire life. Like, imagine how his sons feel about him after that. You know what I mean? Like, imagine going to work with your brother and your dad all day, every day, knowing that the only reason that you're there right now was because your dad got offered to be a billionaire. Like, basically a king or an emperor of capitalism in America, essentially. Like, your dad could have just been like the guy doing whatever he wanted for the rest of his life. But no, he decided he was going to have your back instead, and now you get this awesome job with your family. Like, it's dad goals to a degree that I didn't even know existed. So this obviously leads to a little bit of falling out between Don and John. John obviously wants to sell. He wants to take his money and run, which kind of understandable. So he's like, you know what? Fine. Don, you keep your half of the company. I'm going to take my half and I'm going to go sell it to some investment firm or something, and I'm going to get my money and I'm going to retire. To which John Voltaggio is like, no, you're not. Absolutely not. You are not about to sell half of my company to some investment firm that's going to want to take it public, and then an army of MBAs is going to march in here and try to tell me how to run my business that I built from the ground up when none of them have accomplished anything at all.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm worried about taking care of my employees and my family and putting a lot of tea in pretty cans, and these MBAs are going to march in here and they're going to be worried about one thing, and that's getting a return on their investment, which is a fancy way of saying they're trying to make money for doing fucking nothing. So Don and
Sounds kind of familiar.
John go to court and battle it out for the next 8 years. They reach a confidential agreement outside of court. Nobody knows what it was. Nobody knows the terms. Nobody really knows what happened. All we know is that John got paid out $1 billion, and now Don Voltaggio owns 100% of Arizona Tea as of 2015. So clearly, they just paid out $1 billion. It's been 23 years. They have to raise the price of the tea, right? Absolutely not. Don is 100% against it, and he's going to do anything and everything he can to not raise the price of the 99-cent can.
That is very gangster for sure. This is like, when you're in a partnership, you have to run things by the partner. You can't have 100% authority over an entire company. So when one half is like, we should sell it, the other half is like, no. That makes things tricky. But then again, solution, just buy it from him. If he's like, no, I want to sell this and stuff, you selling it to people that aren't already working in here is going to bring in people that are going to not know what the hell's going on, not know how we've been successful, and is going to try to insert their ideas and ruin everything. That sounds very familiar. So at that point, just like the very clear offer is, okay, you want to skedaddle, I will pay out for whatever amount. Simple.
What on earth could his reasoning possibly be? You know, I'm just going to let him tell you.
Why not increase the price and therefore increase the profit?
We're successful. We're debt-free. We own everything. Why have people who are having a hard time paying their rent have to pay more for our drink? Maybe it's my little way to give back.
This dude's just a complete gangster. I don't know what else to tell
There
you.
you
That
go.
dude literally has woken up every day for the past 3
Stuck
decades
by his
and just told
values.
inflation to go fuck itself. He's literally the only multi-billion-dollar CEO that came out and was like, you know what? I'll just make less money. That is completely unprecedented, okay? Like, I love capitalism. I think it is the greatest system that humans have ever come up with. That being said, it's got a ton of shortcomings, and it would be so much better if everybody acted like that. Buh! This is all a complete lie because last time I saw one at the gas station, it was over $1. Buh! Yeah, that does happen. That's actually the local store that you're at marking the price up higher than MSRP. Arizona Tea still sells their product below $1 and recommends that they sell it for 99 cents. If other companies raise it more than that, Arizona can't really do anything about it. So yeah, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that your local convenience store is scalping tea. It's the world we live in. So
Yeah. I mean, simple explanation right there is like, it's BS that other companies are allowed to mark up a product like that and scalp a product, but that's the unfortunate reality.
So other than Don simply being willing to just make less money, buy a smaller yacht, if you will, what else is Arizona Tea doing to cut costs to maintain this price point? Over time, they've done quite a few different things, one of which is they actually changed from selling 23-ounce cans to 22-ounce cans. And the reason they did that wasn't by selling, you know, 1 less ounce of tea is going to save us all this money. They didn't really give a shit about the tea itself. What they did was they went to the can manufacturer and said, hey, we want you to make our cans thinner and use 40% less aluminum so that we save a bunch of money on the raw material end. So they actually ended up making the can a tiny bit smaller and then making it significantly thinner all the way around and having a different top so that they could save a bunch of money on the can itself. In addition to that, they also figured they could save a bunch of money on fuel by not delivering their tea during the day to all the different stores. All their trucks run exclusively at night. Okay, just so we're all on the same page.
That's so clever. That's very clever.
In order for Arizona Tea to maintain their cheap price point for the rest of us, they're also going to make us suffer by reducing the amount of traffic. This might be my favorite company on the planet. They need to add that to the marketing, honestly.
Extremely
Big cans,
smart.
There's less fucking traffic, okay? It's a trifecta. Okay, do you understand how crazy that is? Like, before they were just saving you money. But now, in order to keep saving you money, they're also being forced to save you time, okay? It violates the laws of physics somehow. It has to.
Damn, Neil deGrasse Tyson! How are you doing that?
It's physics, Terry. It's physics.
This is my new favorite company, okay? I don't even drink Arizona Tea. I'm starting today. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
Well, there you go. That's an endorsement right there.
Something like every other company I look into, but no, they're not up to anything nefarious. They're not secretly being funded by the government. It's just Don Voltaggio,
always a plus.
The owner, woke up every day for 30 years and decided to be a fucking badass. When they told him his 1-gallon jug of tea idea was dumb and it wasn't going to work, he said, cool, I'm going to go ahead and sell it anyways. And it worked. He believed in himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
When his wife designed this awesome can and they said, nobody's going to buy it because it's girly, he said, cool, I'm gonna sell it anyways. He believed in his wife and he was a good husband. When it came time to sell out, retire, and be a billionaire, he said, but then I'm not gonna get to hang out with my sons. He had his kids back. He was a good dad. And when the time came to raise prices because everybody else was doing it, he said, nah, I don't need to make more money. I'll just make less. He was a good person. And despite all of that, despite the fact that he did everything wrong and he put money last as the business owner and the guy running the show, he still ended up being a billionaire worth over $6 billion. And more importantly, he gets to have lunch with both of his boys every single day, which is something I don't think he gets to have lunch with both of his...
Friggin' look at the chin at that son on the left. That is literally the Chad meme chin on that guy. Jeez.
His boys every single day, which is something I don't think any other billionaire can say, and in a lot of ways that probably makes him the richest man on earth. So in my opinion, that's the key to Arizona Tea's success. Don't chase the money, chase the goal. The money will come after. Even if the goal is something as simple as putting a lot of tea in a big can and making it pretty. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel.
The simplest ideas seem to last the longest in some cases.
Quack bang, out.
This is a good example of that. It's like,
now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go play with some big cans of my own. Hannah! What are you doing?
Well, now. That was seriously something. 3:13. It's a little bit of time. All right. So it's very okay. It ends up being rough. It's gonna end up being over 30 minutes. Okay, but yeah, like I obviously, like I said, I did not know anything really about Arizona tea other than I see it just about every kind of convenience store and grocery store I go to. I know they knew they sell it in the gallon jugs, and I knew that it was popular, and I knew that I had seen that design of can before. I knew all of that. I did not know the finer details, everything he had to go through to get things to stay the way that they are, as well as just in general. Just, man stuck by what he said he would do. It's like, no, we're not raising the price of the tea. There's a lot of people that just would look at that and go, that's dumb. We've got to push product harder than whoever was running it last to make a return investment. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't, retards. All you got to do is, if you're in a scenario where someone else is new that's coming on, all you got to do is look is, okay, what works, what hasn't worked. It's working pretty good. I'm just going to let it run. Let it run and the money will speak for itself. It was friggin' 99 cents still, and the guy is still a multi-billionaire, and he never raised the price of the can. In fact, had workarounds. The shit that I could show my own bosses, that I could tell, like, look, these guys never tried to force a massive, massive change, trying to push things more than they were before, trying to reach an unreasonable goal that's just going to end up... I could go on a rant about it. There's just some stuff that's going on right now at work. They don't watch my videos. I don't care if they see stuff here behind the grapevine. But that is really cool that Joe is stuck by. His name is Joe, right? My brain's... Was it Joe? Jim? I can't remember. He's literally been saying the guy's name across this video, and it's just been yeah. Sizzle. I'll be reminded of it in editing. I'm stupid sometimes. But yeah, like, I didn't know anything about the man before. I got a lot of respect for that type of person that's just going to stick by what they say they're going to do. And then still be successful at it. And just spend time with his family, too. Big points in my book is, like, not sacrificing family time just to get a bigger buck. Plus, he's probably richer, a hell of a lot richer now than he would have been if he just sold his half of the company. So that's something to think about. Anywho, I do need to go ahead and wrap this up because this is gone on long enough. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like if you enjoyed, comment your favorite part of this story and what your thoughts are on Arizona tea. Like I said, I don't drink it myself. I'm not against it, I just haven't really tried it. What are your thoughts on it? Subscribe if you're new and tap the bell to get notified when I upload a video so you don't miss any reactions, gameplay, otherwise from me. Also, go check out my Discord. Link is in the description. Come join, we'll talk, post memes, songs, videos, artwork. You can self-promote your own stuff and just have some fun. This has been Lance Block 30, signing off.